record.
Also, my computer's acting up, so I'm in here through my phone. Just to let you know.
Oh, okay, thank you. Thanks, Dan. I'll get you. Actually, I'll mark that down before I forget right now. There we go. Gotcha. All right. So on the front of the pet food bag, oftentimes they'll have like this big symbol, and it's very emphatically exclaiming, you know, with added omega-3 and omega-6 fatty acids, like they're doing you a favor. And the thing is, they have to add it. That's non-negotiable.
So both have to be added.
They both have to be added to both dog and cat food because they are essential fatty acids.
And that's per the FDA, right?
And that's part of their minimum requirements set by FDA and AAFCO. So when you see these pet food little banners like, oh my God, look at what we're doing for your pet.
It's required.
No, it's required, but they know that we as human consumers are at least familiar with the terms omega-3, omega-6. We may not know what they are. We may not know what they do,
But we've heard it.
we've heard it. It sounds so scientifical. It does sound so scientifical.
It'd be real fancy if they put alpha-linolenic.
Right? Well, but the thing is, it wouldn't. When we get into pet food labels here in a couple of weeks, we're going to go into the psychology behind the marketing, which is fascinating to me. Much more scientifical to say now with alpha-linolenic acid and linoleic acid, that would turn people off because they don't know what the word is.
Yeah.
They would look at that and go, I don't know what that is. I don't want that. That's GMO.
Yeah.
Nobody knows what the heck a GMO is. They just have learned it's not good. So
Crazy what marketing does.
that's exactly what marketing does. It's terrifying just how tapped into our psyches they are. So we do see this omega-3 fatty acid a lot in our in elevated amounts in our senior diets and higher amounts because of this anti-inflammatory property, as well as cognitive function. We do also see it added in higher amounts in puppy food because it helps with growth and development of the eyes, as well as inflammation. We know growing puppies can get inflammation. And then it reduces the chances of heart failure. And if I don't have it, if I am deficient in omega-3, I'm going to have fatigue. Well, yeah, it's an energy-producing nutrient. If I don't have it, what am I not doing? Producing energy, which is going to give me fatigue and poor brain function, mood swings, depression, circulation because of its impact on the heart.
You said something about senior pet food last time?
Yeah, so omega-3, we do see it in higher amounts, like it's required in all dog and cat food. But we do see it in higher amounts in both puppy and senior because of the way that the body works and uses it. Here were some of the foods that are rich in our omega-3s. You can go through that. We talked about that yesterday. Tofu. You can go to get yourself a buffalo burger over at Bubba's. Shut your pie hole, Eric.
I literally said nothing.
Forgot about it.
Fart you. Our omega-6 linoleic. Now this is an essential fatty acid in both dogs and cats. However, this fatty acid can get converted to another fatty acid in the dog. It gets converted into something called arachidonic acid. Arachidonic acid is non-essential in the canine, meaning that they make it for themselves. We don't have to have it in the food. Cats don't make it for themselves. So cats do have arachidonic as an essential fatty acid. They need that in the diet. The dogs do not. Yes.
On a cat food bag, would it say arachidonic acid or would it be like labeled as something else?
So they wouldn't necessarily have to say it, but in order to comply with complete and balanced nutritional support for a feline, has to have it. If I don't have the arachidonic acid, it is not a complete and balanced diet for the feline, because arachidonic is an essential fatty acid. This is also why you cannot feed cats like they are little dogs. Because here at my pet food corporation, I do have my own pet food corporation. It's called Huff and Puff Awesome Dog Food Corporation. And I don't have to put arachidonic acid in the dog food. Am I going to? No, why would I? No, money, honey. Why am I going to spend money on ingredients I don't got to put in there? So if I feed the cat dog food, guess what the cat's not getting? Arachidonic acid.
No, you just answered it.
Oh, okay. So our omega-6, number one, gets converted, but some of the other functions it has, it stimulates hair and skin growth. We talked about that yesterday. It's in some of our beauty products. You'll see like hand lotions infused with omega-6, hair products infused with omega-6. It regulates our metabolism and reproduction, and it's found in nuts and seeds and vegetable oil. So there's the 3 essential fatty acids in the cat and the 2 essential fatty acids in the dog. And then what arachidonic acid does, whether it is being created for the animal in their own body or whether it's in the diet, doesn't matter, it does the same thing. Vasoconstriction and vasodilation, it makes the blood vessels expand and contract, which in turn directly impacts the blood pressure. It's going to regulate body temperature, clot, inflammation. So it does sweeping generalized changes throughout the body. This is what gives it what we call a hormone-like action. Hormones produce a sweeping generalized systemic reaction within the body, not just a localized reaction on a specific area. Essential fatty acids also play a real big role in kidney function. Kidneys are super dependent on fatty acids. Wow, Doug just fell hard off the wheel. Oh, signs of just a generalized fatty acid deficiency, alopecia. Tell me what alopecia means. Hair loss, dull hair coat, anemia. We talked about this yesterday. Your kidneys, healthy kidneys, produce a hormone called erythropoietin, which is the signal for your body to produce red blood cells. If you are deficient in fatty acids, your kidneys are not healthy. They don't produce erythropoietin. Your body does not produce red blood cells. You have anemia. So that's why we would see anemia in a fatty acid deficiency. And then we would see hepatic lipidosis, fatty liver disease. Why? What is the role of the liver in all of this shenanigans?
Producing bile.
To do what, Tyler?
Produce bile.
We do produce bile to filter,
To convert the energy.
convert the energy, all of the above. So if I have a fatty acid deficiency, I don't have them in my diet, does that mean my body no longer needs them? So where am I getting them from? Storage. I start catabolizing large amounts of stored adipose. Goes to the liver for conversion. We have our gallbladder and the bile that is what technically is concentrating into the digestive system that's helping to emulsify the fat, but we're breaking it down from the storage. Liver can't keep up because we're bringing it too quickly. And so what ends up happening is she's just frantically trying desperately to convert all of this stored adipose, and it's just accumulating behind her. And you end up with it glomming up the liver, causing a fatty liver, hepatic lipidosis.
So what kind of fats, like, what is the best fats for the kidneys, like, to help them function the correct way? Would it be the omegas or?
It's all 3 of the essential fatty acids in the cat and the 2 essentials in the dog.
Okay.
So if you're great on omega-3, but you're deficient on omega-6, Well, suddenly in the dog, you're not only deficient in omega-6 now, are you? No, you're also deficient in arachidonic. It's all the domino
It
effect.
has like an equal amount of.
You need to have a perfect balanced amount in order for the kidneys to function properly. It is so remarkable every day that we wake up alive, because there is an astronomical, uncalculable number of things that have to go right in order for us to remain alive.
So for the cat, does like the SO diet, SO urinary diet, is that usually like really good for the kidneys? Right?
So SO, that is a urinary diet, not so much for kidney health as it is for urinary bladder health.
Right.
The SO is, the Purina SO is for both struvite and oxalate. You have two different types, primary types of bladder stones or crystals. Struvites, which form in basic urine. Calcium oxalates form in acidic urine. Well, the whole point behind any urinary diet is it creates a urinary environment that's unfavorable for the crystals to form.
Right.
Kidney diets are different from urinary diets. Kidney diets, you're going to see a decrease in the protein because we want a decrease in the nitrogen. And you're also going to see a decrease in the number of minerals. Minerals in our pet food world is called ash. That's not ash like cigarette ash. This is a term that we use, a catch-all for minerals. And so they'll have decreased amounts of minerals. So two completely different processes for the same system.
Yeah.
My cat has a lot of protein inside, and that's what it's called, strain or whatever, but he's on an SO diet, so I need to switch it on to kidney.
I would not switch anything until you confer with your veterinarian.
Okay.
And I actually had a discrepancy with Miss Henka and Miss Martinez, and that does not have a urinary problem on a urinary diet, which promotes kidney failure. If they're on an actual urinary tract diet.
Well, it kind of depends on what their overall kidney health is to begin with. So you never want to put an animal on a therapeutic diet if it's not needed, because remember, food is considered a drug. Well, if I don't need medication, I'm not going to take medication. The exact same thing with our therapeutic diets. You think of the urinary diet as a medication that helps prevent urinary crystals. If I don't need it, I don't need to have them on that medication.
Right.
I don't have epilepsy. I'm not going to start taking medication for epilepsy just in case. So that's, you can have physiological issues happen if you're feeding a food tailored for a specific physical issue that they don't have. You can, in fact, start promoting issues to happen because of the tailored nutrition.
Right, yeah, the kitten had gotten into one of my other cats' food. She's on kitten food.
That's fine.
Floki is on CD urinary.
I mean, a mouthful here and there is not going to hurt her.
They just wanted to be
If
sure.
it's if it's her primary source of nutrition, then we could start seeing some issues. But if she's getting into it, taking a mouthful here and there,
I don't get it.
it is not.
Dude, my cat is fatty and eats everybody's food.
It's not a kitten, it's a lion.
Yeah.
So we can get fats from both animal and plant sources. Cats, however, as we know, need arachidonic acid as an essential fatty acid, and that only comes from animal sources, hence them being obligate carnivores. 1 gram of fat equals 9 calories of energy. Remind me how many calories there was in a gram of carbohydrates?
4.
4. Nice. And fats make food taste good. The problem is that the fats, the better something tastes, the worse the fat is for you. It's usually the fats that go directly to the storage unit. Fats are also essential for the absorption of certain vitamins. The fat-soluble ones, A, D, E, and K. And those are kind of important. We're going to do a whole lecture over just vitamins. But just in a nutshell, vitamin A helps with visual acuity, reproduction, spermatogenesis. Vitamin D helps to maintain your calcium phosphorus ratios, help to maintain bone and tooth health. Vitamin E helps keep your immune system healthy. It's also a biological antioxidant. And vitamin K helps prevent you from bleeding out of every orifice. So if I don't have fats, guess what else I don't have access to? Fat-soluble vitamins.
So like the fats in like the marble and the steak, those aren't bad, right?
Not necessarily, no.
Okay.
I don't like them, but have at it.
For sure.
What did you say, the marble and the steak?
The fat marbling in a steak. I don't care. I don't care to eat
Depends
the
on the
fat.
state.
I don't care to eat the fat. But
No,
you
like
do you.
not on the outside, like the.
Oh, you're just talking
marble
about the marbling. Oh yeah, that's fine. Heck yeah. That's primarily not just fat, but connective tissue as well. So yeah, that's perfectly fine to eat.
Miss Huff,
Yes.
I'm sorry, but you've been cutting off a lot throughout your presentation.
Oh no. Thank you for letting me know. Let me check my internet.
No problem.
Oh, yeah.
Well, I'm on there.
In the middle of class, or not middle, towards the end, and then we were able to get back on, but it took a while.
Okay. Well, what I will do is I will make sure that I post this lecture as soon as class is over on my YouTube channel.
Thank
So
you.
that anything that you've missed, you'll be able to see on the recording. Different things that fat influences appetite and food intake. Well, that makes sense. If stuff tastes good, you're gonna want to eat more of it. That's kind of a no-duh. The dietary levels of our other nutrients. What?
You're not on mute.
Eggs, asada, and cheese.
I don't know.
You're not on mute.
They should have drive-through chef for cheese.
No, they don't have onions in it, I think. Okay.
Who is not?
They're all negative now.
It's not her.
What is happening right now? What is?
Everybody's muted.
Everybody's muted.
It was Angie's thing.
It's weird. Okay.
Okay, that was weird. You saw it muted.
Yeah. She was ordering some kind of like queso and something.
Right. Although, honestly, completely inappropriate to be at a fast food restaurant ordering food in the middle of my lecture.
Yes.
I'm just gonna say inappropriate.
Yeah, you expose yourself. That's hilarious.
All right, so fat serve as a source of energy. We just talked about this. Is just another review slide. Facilitate digestion, act as carriers for our fat-soluble vitamins. And we do have veterinary supplementation. This is one brand called 3V Caps, otherwise known as Derm Caps. And these are fatty acid supplements you can give to animals that do have some sort of skin condition, hair condition, organ issue. So this is some over-the-counter stuff that you can give as far as your fatty acid supplements. They taste terrible. They're awful. It is a capsule, but it's similar to you taking like a cod liver oil capsule.
I hate those.
So it's awful. Even if you swallow it whole, you are tasting it for the rest of your life. So the same thing here. These taste, and these are a little bit worse than those. Yes, I have tried one. I just wanted to see if it was the same as the ones that you get at the CVS. It's exactly the same.
Oh,
Yeah.
The formula is exactly the same, and sometimes you can get the Derm Caps, the fatty acid supplement. If you happen to be on fatty acid supplements, you can get these a hell of a lot cheaper than you can human supplements at CVS. Probably a quarter of the cost.
No.
But you're gonna pay for it because they're awful.
Yeah, that's great.
They're way, way, way worse. Way, way, way worse. Fats cannot be soluble in water. Duh. We cannot synthesize fatty acids other than dogs with the arachidonic. They're all stored in excess, sadly. Found that out the hard way over Christmas when I just ate all of the things. I was just eating and drinking everything in sight. And then the fat is catabolized. There's no new information on here. Now that's a lot of words. Ketosis. Let me explain what's happening here. We talked about this a little bit in relation to the keto diet. So essentially what's going to happen is when your body blood glucose gets low, your need for a nutrient gets low, your body signals to start catabolizing adipose tissue. That's not shocking news. Adipose goes to the liver, we convert it into energy, we use it for whatever we need to use it. But if we're breaking down large amounts of adipose, the factory is creating pollution. This pollution, it begins as something called acetyl-CoA, which in itself sounds evil. It does, acetyl-CoA, it just drips out of your mouth like poison. Acetyl-CoA, super duper uber toxic, it will kill everything it touches. We can't get rid of it because we can't transport it, it's far too dangerous. So what your body does is it converts it into something less toxic to transport, called a ketone body. Ketone bodies are targeted by the kidneys, taken out of circulation, and you urinate them out. Now, normal dogs, cats, and humans should not have a detectable number of ketones in your urine. Do you have some? Of course you do. I'm catabolizing myself right before your eyes. I have not eaten breakfast. I haven't eaten since my dinner last night. Catabolizing myself. So yes, of course, I'm going to have ketones in my urine, but is it a detectable amount? It is not. If I start accumulating these ketone bodies, we overwhelm the kidneys. Remember, I likened it to that episode of I Love Lucy with the chocolate factory, and then they get overwhelmed and they just start like putting chocolates in their hats and eating them and just falling on the floor. That's what ketones are now doing, and the kidneys are like, I can't keep up with this, just let them go. Just let them go back into the circulation. We'll catch them on the next time around. But we're still producing them. So now we've got the kidneys spitting them back into circulation. We've got more being created. Well, ketone bodies are acidic, and they will alter the pH of the blood, which will result in multi-system organ failure, and you will die. Diabetics are super prone to this ketosis. Because what happens with diabetes, everything I just said, diabetic animal does not have what? What is it they don't produce that makes them diabetic? Insulin. Insulin takes blood glucose out of the blood and delivers it to the tissue to get paid. Everyone gets paid. If I don't have insulin, it doesn't matter how much blood glucose I have, nobody's getting paid. I can't get it out of the blood. So what happens is the body is calling brain like, hey, no one's getting paid down here. Brain calls Carl and says, hey, start breaking down some of that fat. Carl breaks down the fat, takes it to the liver, she converts it into glucose, puts it into the blood. What happens? Nothing happens. I have no insulin. So I have now increased my blood glucose. Body says, hey, Carl, I thought I told you to break down some adipose. He's like, well, I did that. I don't know what you're talking about. So he breaks down more, and he breaks down more, and he breaks down more, and he breaks down more, because all the body knows is nobody's getting paid. We're just keep trying to put the glucose in the blood, but we got no way to get it out of the blood. Now our blood glucose is sky high. I've broken down a large volume of adipose, which results in ketosis. And this is a condition called DKA, diabetic ketoacidosis. It'll result in multi-system organ failure and they will kill them. In fact, I'd say greater than 50% of the animals with diabetic ketoacidosis will die of the condition. So that's what we're talking about with ketosis in relation to the catabolization of adipose tissue.
So the fad diet, what is, do people just sit on that balance?
Oh, Lord and Lord.
In other words, just don't do it.
So
No,
my
I'm just trying to
recommendation,
figure out the-
so here's what happens is the keto diet is you're supposed to have minimal carbs, minimal to no fat, all the protein you want. I don't know if anyone's ever tried, I have never tried it, obviously, but
I thought you were supposed to have lots
Right.
and lots of fat. Like they were use butter and
avocado. Yeah, you can't have any fats or carbs, but you can have all the protein you want. And they sell urine strips. And they say, okay, when you have detectable ketone bodies in your urine, huzzah, the diet is working. You're in that sweet spot. Should you have detectable ketones in your urine?
Naturally, no.
So now we know that our kidneys are being overwhelmed, but not only that, we've increased the amount of protein we're taking in. Protein contains nitrogen. I now have excess amounts of nitrogen, which are being filtered out by who? No, kidneys. So now my kidneys are trying to keep up by filtering out the ketones, and they're trying to keep up by filtering out all this excess nitrogen. Kidneys are little workhorses. They will work and work and work and work and work until finally they go, nope, I'm out. And that's exactly what happens. Kidneys shut down, and you end up with big, big problems. Then you die. Yep. Not to mention the effect on the liver because of the massive breakdown of adipose. The ketone diet is effective. It'll make you lose a crap ton of weight because I'm not taking in carbs, I'm not taking in fatty acids. Do I need them?
Yeah.
House of cards, house of cards. Where am I getting them? Adipose. I'm breaking down massive amounts of adipose, which is making me super thin. I'll drop weight like crazy. It'll send me into hepatic lipidosis and kidney failure and ketoacidosis and kill me.
But you look
But
good.
you look
But
great.
my corpse is going to look fabulous, which doesn't matter. I'm going to be cremated. So it doesn't really matter what my corpse looks like.
That's how I feel. Who cares?
Just burn me up, scatter me to the wind. Yeah.
Any protein next to
Oh, hang on, I got a question.
What about the all protein?
So anything where it is eliminating one of our nutrients is super not good for you. Because we need to have these nutrients in balance in order for all the other nutrients to be used. If I take fat out of my diet, suddenly I can't use any of my fat-soluble vitamins. Kind of important. Suddenly I don't have any of the effects of the fatty acids that we just talked about. And so I now have diminished muscle capacity, I have diminished brain capacity, I have diminished organ function, and my liver is having to glom up with fat, hepatic lipidosis. So any diet that says eliminate something, eliminate a nutrient is not a good diet. You need to have a complete and balanced diet, but you need to just decrease your calorie content. The only safe way to lose weight is to use more calories than you're taking in. But to eat complete and balanced, you still need fats, you still need carbs. We can do the right fats and the right carbs. Polysaccharides. Remember, sugars that have many, many bonds. My body's gonna have to work much harder to break those down. I'm gonna be using polyunsaturated fatty acids. And I'm gonna be using fiber. So if we're using the correct nutrients, we're gonna maintain the balance, but we're gonna do it safely.
So what about with like the sweet and lows and, you know, the sugar replacers?
So now you're into a little more of the human part that I am not, because we don't do sugar replacers in veterinary medicine. A lot of my veterinary nutrition knowledge does translate to human nutrition. Stuff like that, however, does not. I know that aspartame is very hard on your kidneys. I don't even
I
know.
think they're worse than regular sugars.
So I don't have an answer for that, only because we don't use those in veterinary medicine. So I don't know the physiological response on the body. And I'm not going to pretend that I do.
We need to remember the whole like process of.
Not just in general, that ketone bodies are acidic and they're the result of an over catabolization of adipose tissue.
And do we need to know that the pH balance?
The pH balance is general, normal animal is 7.4.
This is on our VTE?
This is a typical VTNE question. What is the normal pH for the blood of a companion animal?
What if you said it was acidic and it was over for the ketosis?
So ketosis happens when we over-catabolize adipose tissue, producing ketone bodies which turn the blood and the body pH acidic. And that's why it's called keto what? Acidosis, which if you think about your medical terminology, osis, condition of acid due to ketones. The normal range of the animal's blood is 7.35 to 7.45. If it goes beyond 7.35 or above 7.45, that's when we're in danger zone. Over-catabolized adipose tissue creates the ketone bodies, which are then recirculated and are acidic and will change the pH of the body.
So like what are the signs and symptoms of the extremities and the imbalance of the pH?
What is the what?
The signs or symptoms and like the extremities of the imbalances and the pH.
So you're not really going to see something in the extremities. You could if it starts affecting the heart. But you're going to see an animal who is in
physical side effects like that you can see.
For DKA, oh, absolutely. This animal's in lateral recumbency, cyanotic, comatose. Usually they're having absolutely profuse bloody diarrhea and possibly vomiting because their pancreas has gone crazy.
Yeah,
for sure.
They might have hematuria, blood in the urine, because we have a major effect on the kidneys. We're going to be jaundice because we have multi-system organ failure. So anything you can associate with any individual organ failure, they're going to have it all.
So if it's more basic.
Jaundice is where their outsides turn yellow. Yeah.
So what if it's more basic?
Well, if it's ketoacidosis, can't go basic. All right, what other questions can I answer for you about fats or fatty acids? All right, so what our plan is, and I will remind you again tomorrow, the plan is that we will be doing a fats and fatty acid test on Friday. I'm going to schedule that during class time. We will not be meeting for lecture. You do not have to come in for Zoom. Do your test, spend the rest of the class period doing whatever it is you want to do on a Friday. Kind of my gift to you because I don't normally schedule 2 tests in a single week. It just so happens that luck of the draw.
Is there going to be fill in the blank on this test?
There will not. It's true and false multiple choice.
How many
It'll be-
questions?
I don't remember. I honestly don't remember how many questions. Probably 30. So a nice, cute little quizam. But it'll open and close during class time. But you'll have the option to do it anytime during class. Any other questions about that? Fabulous. Okay, so now we're going to start just kind of dipping our toe into the last of our energy producing nutrients, protein and amino acids. Amino acids are the building blocks of our proteins. Amino acids are an organic compound. This is their structure. I am not going to be testing you over this structure. I'm not going to have you recreate this. This is not an organic chemistry class. This is just so you can have something to look at. It contains an amino and a carboxyl group, and that's why they're called amino acids.
What element is R?
That's a great question. I have no idea. What element is R?
Was it iron?
No, iron is Fe.
Fe.
I know the rest.
Well, I don't know. Someone get out a phone and Google what is the element that is the chemical symbol R. Because the sad thing is they're not always the first letter of it. Like I said, iron is Fe.
Radium is RE.
It says radium.
Yeah.
Radium is just R.
It says
No,
radium.
radium is RA. There's no
Yeah,
R.
radium. Although the R is considered to be a side chain, so it may not be an element. We could be looking
It
at
says
something
the
else.
R just means an unspecific group molecule.
Oh, fabulous. So the R is an unspecific molecule that is attached as a side chain. You get the unicorn high five because I've literally never, in the years I've worked and taught this, never had anyone ask me that before. So that's the thing I learned today. I love that. Perfect. Thank God I don't have to take a chemistry class. I do have to take a math class, and I'm absolutely not happy about
Maybe
it.
we have to take a math class too.
You do.
Wait,
You
so
do.
I just signed off on a math class this morning because I got the credits. Like, do I still have to take that?
No, if you've got a transfer credit, you don't take the class.
So, do I just not have the?
You just will have 2 off periods instead of 1 off period.
Oh, great.
So you'll only be going to 3 classes instead of 4.
I like those.
But yeah, I gotta take math. I hate it.
What kind of
So would I need to send a
Any transfer credit questions have got to go to Ms. Melanie because I have nothing to do with it.
What kind of math do they do?
General college algebra.
It's contemporary.
It's not that bad. It's not that bad.
That's like my significant other is the math guy. He's the whiz, and he's always astonished because give me a dosage. I can calculate dosages in my head. You have a 10-pound animal. The medication it needs is 3 milligrams per kilogram. The dosage concentration is 20 milligrams per milliliter. How much are you going to get? Bippity boppity boop, not a problem. When you start throwing letters of the alphabet in there, I lose my effing mind and I can't do
And
it.
little symbols too.
Oh, don't stop. You're going to make me a panic attack.
To a fraction
And I was
of
really
that.
hoping, because I had to drop that vet course, I was hoping I could pick up math and do it as a full, like nice, slow, full semester instead of a mini-mester in the summer. Well, there only was one online and it was full. So I can't do it. Amino acids, just like our other nutrients, do occur in both plant and animal sources. There are, however, some amino acids, which, remember, amino acids is just the word we're using for the Legos that make up protein. There are some Legos that cats need that only come from animal sources. Hence, obligate carnivore. You cannot feed cats a vegetarian diet. And if any of my students ever tried to do that, guess what's going to happen? You're going to get stabbed in the face with a spork. I will break out my titanium spork and I will stab you in the neck with it until you relinquish and realize cats cannot be vegetarians.
That's an appropriate reaction.
I think that is a completely appropriate action. Because then every time that you think about maybe my cat should turn vegetarian, you'll see the big spork scar in your neck and you'll remember, and then you'll go, oh yeah, that's right, Miss Huff said no.
You're torturing your cat, right? I mean.
You're slowly killing them. Yes, they are going into liver failure and they are dying. There's also other cat-like animals, not in part of the feline family, but close enough to where they do also need the carnivore diet, like the fennec fox. Ferrets are obligate carnivores. So just, it gives me a headache. People are so just, I hate people. Thank you. So in our amino acid groups, we have two different categories. We're using the word essential again, it means the exact same thing. If I say it's an essential amino acid, what does that say to you? You have to have it in the diet. If it is a non-essential amino acid, I still need it, but I can create it for myself. I can take some of the Legos, I can bippity-boppity-boo, reassemble them into something else, a different structure. So some of these essential amino acids are Legos I have to take in from outside sources, and then I can restructure and repurpose those to create other amino acids. And if I can create them for myself, I don't have to take them in my diet. This is a list of the amino acids. I took this directly out of Big Bertha, the essential versus the non-essential. We are really only going to be going over the essential amino acids. If you looked up the PowerPoint where I'm going over each individual, I kind of go over them in groups. We're going to be going over the essential amino acids. Arginine, histidine, isoleucine, leucine, lysine, methionine, phenylalanine. I love saying that one, phenylalanine. La la la. Taurine is essential in our cats. Threonine, tryptophan. There's the one that you all recognize. Tryptophan. How do you know tryptophan? This is turkey and taurine, because if you drink Monster energy drinks, you know taurine.
Isn't that what makes it taste weird?
That's something else. That might be the carnitine. And we're going to talk about carnitine because carnitine is not an amino acid, but carnitine is created that helps your body metabolize fats for energy. That's how those energy drinks work. They speed up your body breaking down fat for energy. Well, yeah, and send yourself into kidney failure and die.
So what was tryptophan?
Tryptophan is what we find in turkey.
Oh,
And tryptophan gets a really bad rap. No, it does not, and just stop saying that because he doesn't like being blamed for any of that.
He's a good turkey.
Tryptophan is a good amino acid. Does it have sedative properties? Yes, but the only way that tryptophan has sedative properties is if it's the only amino acid ingested with no other nutrients.
Isn't that like impossible?
Which would be literally impossible, especially if you were eating it in turkey. Tryptophan is not the only amino acid, and you're certainly taking in a lot of other nutrients. The reason why you get sleepy after your Thanksgiving Day or Christmas Day dinner is because you're a glutton, you ate too much. And all of your blood is now being diverted to your GI tract to provide the energy for it to break down that massive meal and carry the nutrients to the liver. Every ounce of spare blood is being diverted. And so your brain looks around and goes, well, crap, okay. Well, we're not going to be able to get into trouble. We can't run. We certainly can't fight, fight or flight. This looks like a pretty good safe space, so we're just going to keep her here. Shut her down, boys. Click. And off it clicks, and suddenly I'm this comatose Jabba the Hutt drooling on the sofa, watching the Cowboys lose. And I don't want to go anywhere. The only energy I have is to reach over and get a little bit more pie. that is what makes you, so yeah, tryptophan does help with serotonin and melatonin production, which are your feel-good, fuzzy feel-good feelings. But it does not make you sleepy. So stop blaming him, he doesn't like it. Or maybe that was me that doesn't like it. I apparently have a little bit of unresolved anger about this.
You will
Like-
die. You will die for that.
My goodness gracious.
Regardless, it's good because it makes you feel good and,
It makes you feel good and it tastes good. And that's all I'm gonna say about that. We're gonna pick it up here on tomorrow.